Welcome to Universal Journey Talk, spreading positive energy.
All right, so I'm Kirk, and I'm here with a special edition, the Brothers Special Edition right here. This is all my brothers. We've got Ian at the top here. So we've got Eric, as everyone knows, and also Heath, who is his twin brother. So what we're doing with this show right here is a little bit of like a bit of a different thing. Sometimes, once again, we like to debate on certain things. This one's going to be basically called Hoax or Real, which is pretty much, we figured there's a few things that we kind of, based off of the other, the last episode where we were talking about aliens and stuff like that. I guess it kind of made, Heath and I were talking a little bit about, well, what about other kind of, things that people believe could be real or not. And then that kind of just got us thinking, well, let's make this one like a kind of a four-way discussion on a couple things. Like for instance, just to kind of give to put it out there, like myself, I don't really have as much interest in Bigfoot per se, even though clearly there's a lot of interest in it. That's why it always keep coming up, and there's a lot of valid points. I personally don't have as much interest, but I'm always curious to hear other people's thoughts. Now, likewise, but in the same way, where I don't kind of feel like maybe Bigfoot is as real as people would like to think. At the same time, I would say I think now things like the Loch Ness Monster, I think has a very much higher probability because of there's probably a good chance because of how large the ocean is and that we can't go down, that there could be massive creatures down there that sometimes surface or whatever. And, not to say okay, there's only been one Loch Ness Monster. I think there could have been many sightings of many large swimming things, and that were all considered to be the Loch Ness Monster. So that's just kind of like a perspective. And then there's other things I was even going to say, for instance, whether we think that they're a hoax or real. I got to think with possessions. I actually kind of don't think that people are possessed. To me personally, I think it more tends to be like a medical situation. But of course, there's plenty of people that would have a lot of other reasons to assume differently. So anyway, this is kind of like the tone that we're kind of just going to be going with. But I think Ian was saying there was something he was just reading about, and I guess we'll let you kind of just take it from there.
Yeah, this is it's an interesting topic actually, especially that's why I definitely wanted to be a part of this cast. But this information I was just kind of doing a little research on before coming through. It's really interesting. It comes from a reputable source, from the Smithsonian Institute. And I'll just read a little bit of it. It says, 60 years ago, this fall, Bigfoot first stepped into the public consciousness. So this is recent, actually, that, the movement of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, ergo, abominable snowman, and all of this kind of really started to come to media attention of sorts. And it says, giant footprints puzzle residents. This is a headline in the Humboldt Times, which announced the small Northern California newspaper reported that a road construction crew had discovered human-like footprints that were a massive 16 inches long. The paper was the first to give the mysterious animal that made the prints its memorable moniker or name, Bigfoot. And the creature has been stomping through the American imagination ever since. Today, the legendary beast seems to be everywhere. You will find Bigfoot looking awfully cute this year in two children's films, The Son of Bigfoot and Smallfoot. Animal Planet recently aired its finale of the popular series Finding Bigfoot, which lasted 11 seasons, despite never making good on the promise of actually finding Bigfoot in its title. And the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization lists at least, and isn't that interesting, there's a Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, lists at least one report from every state except Hawaii over the past 2 decades, every state. The most recent sighting in June 2018 was by a woman in Florida who reported a creature that looked like a large pile of soggy grass. Other evidence in the database includes supposed Bigfoot scat, nest noises. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, it may not make a sound, but it seems someone will report that a Bigfoot knocked it over. So this just kind of attests to what we talked about. Interest in the existence of the creature is at an all-time high, with, and also kind of lumped in with the conspiracy theory era, which we are in as well. the paleontologist Darren Naish has observed, even though there's nothing even close to compelling as regards the evidence. What do you think?
Right. Okay, so I think, well, I don't know. Heath was making a lot of faces right there.
I think.
So, well, I'm actually kind of curious to get Heath's take on it first, because I know you make some faces. So what were you gonna say first?
Well, he's like, yeah, because me and Eric talked about this before a little bit and stuff, so Eric probably knows what certain things I'm gonna say. But yeah, when I mentioned about the Bigfoot documentary, I saw the documentary. I don't know if it was that one, but it was called Chasing Bigfoot. And the thing is, though, like, there was nothing. Like even in the document, I was like, so this is the best you guys can get? You know, camera set up, and this guy was so sure. He's like, look, I will even show you every night when the Bigfoot comes. You know, and the guy would like put like apples on like a log, and at night the Bigfoot would come. Now this guy has a camera pointing right at Bigfoot. For some reason, I guess every day, even though he knows where the Bigfoot is, the camera is set like 30, 40 feet away. So all you see is like, here's the log, and all you see is Bigfoot's a little hand come over, grab the apple, and he's gone. And that time.
Right.
So right there, I'm like, wow. So you want the whole national, the whole world to see around the globe. That's the best you can position a camera when you know every day this Bigfoot comes, takes the apple, and that's the best where you can set it.
Right.
Unless Bigfoot knows, like like being around a camera within 50 feet or something. I mean, like, otherwise, why are you even setting it like that? So every time we see this, and guess what? Yeah, they take the apple. It's like, who's going to believe that? It's like, why are all these pictures of Bigfoot, it's always blurry or always this?
Yeah, I do agree.
It's like there's very few things that are really like in this camera world these days. And then it's like, just like today, I was watching a thing on Bigfoot. All right, and this guy, he's like, I think he works for, some kind of like Bigfoot promotion thing now, because his story was he went hunting and he was in a tent, and outside of the tent he saw a shadow from him being inside the tent. He saw from the tent, standing in front of his tent, that was about 9 feet tall, hairy and everything, and he thought it was a tree, but because it stayed there for about 15, 20 minutes, and he just stared at it. Then about, I think, to open up the tent or the door or whatever to check on what it is. So he stayed there, and then eventually he fell asleep until the next day, and then he got up and he went out there to figure out, if there was a tree in front of his tent, and it wasn't, because it was gone. So he said it had to be a Bigfoot, because there's no shadow that can do what that did. Shadow. So the next 4 or 5 days, he said he was looking around. Is there any trees or anything that could duplicate the shadow of Bigfoot?
All right.
So like that's what we're coming now to. So it's like, I mean, this is like, it's like even Einstein would be like, you know what? Maybe you truly do feel like you did see a Bigfoot, and I believe a lot of people do really feel like they are seeing a Bigfoot. But it's like, the best you can give me a shadow, and because you can't duplicate a shadow unless you're a shadow master. You know what? It's like, to me, it's like, come on, guys. And the last thing I'm gonna say is,
hold on. Let's kind of rotate this around a little bit.
Fine.
I think Eric was gonna say something too about that. So let's let him weigh in for a moment.
Yeah, that was good.
Yep. All right. See, all right. Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. To me, the giant squid in was it 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Right.
To me, I believe in pretty much all of that. From what I hear, it's like, absolutely. There's no reason for me not to. Because regardless of regardless of whose article writes whatever, it's pretty much, if you want to believe in Bigfoot, you can write an article that would make all the sense in the world to anyone who believes in Bigfoot. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, any article you listen to that anybody writes who doesn't believe in Bigfoot, you'll believe. Yeah, see, that tells you right there. Because really, you only want to see what you want to believe. Because even if here's the point. There's been many articles of how Bigfoot, just like you guys stated, couldn't exist. We would find them. We've seen every part of the planet. How can we, anything on land, how how can we miss a Bigfoot, especially a species? It's not like just one Bigfoot that only lives in one country. But the thing is, like the Iron statement, reading an article and how Bigfoot got big, since only so long ago. But the reality is, Bigfoot's been written in caves by Native Americans that had them in caves, painted on the wall, and this goes years, thousands of years ago. And ancients wrote about this. And the thing is, there's something more about Bigfoot that maybe we don't understand, because as much I would love to say, yeah, just because some guy goes out and films himself and said he's going to show everybody that Bigfoot exists, and he couldn't. But that'd be like, well, I'm going to go out and show everybody that ninjas exist. But ninjas are stealth. Like, you don't just go out and find a ninja. That's something you don't actually, like, you're not always going to grab on camera. And if they're a species that apparently does not want to be seen, there's a reason for that. If that's all they've done, they're probably much better at it than you are. So just because, see, a lot of times the human thinks that we know everything, that we can think better than an animal. But an animal, you're not going to build a better dam than a beaver, basically, to a degree. You know what I mean? Just naturally, like, that's what they do. They'll do it out of sticks. They don't have to wait for concrete and all this. They just take sticks, get together, and before you know it, they gather them up. They got a dam and hold them water. So, if I said to you right now, you've heard every article, that you read, or the Smithsonian or whatever. But these are just regular people that if they don't want to believe it, they can say anything. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't anything that in that article that really held anything. It's just saying all about, how the media want to make bigger of it. Right? That's fine. But guess what? It still doesn't take away the fact that whoever that thousands of people have claimed they've seen it, that every single one must be lying. Sometimes you have to look at a common denominator, and it isn't just always everybody's just crazy. If somebody keeps saying something, whatever, then there's probably a pattern to it. So if someone keeps seeing a Loch Ness Monster, then to me, I would say the Loch Ness Monster, well, it would make sense. They've seen the Loch Ness Monster in the Canadian oceans, and we all know in an ocean, how deep is an ocean? So there's things, there's so much that's undiscovered in the ocean that it's probably more down there than we know up here. So when you think about this, the Loch Ness Monster was seen in a lake Loch Ness. That's a lake, but it's funny. Most lakes aren't that deep. But other than the fact of Lake Loch Ness, which happens to be one of the lakes in the world that you can't, we couldn't even go to the bottom of it, it's so deep. So what does that tell you? So, and that was in fresh water. So if they're seen in fresh water, but it happens to be in a lake, which uncommonly isn't even that deep. But they were there, so they exist in fresh water and in the ocean, obviously. You know how deep that is, in the abyss, you know what I mean? So that would make sense. So rather than just knock it off, because it looks like a monster or whatever, no, it's just a species that's probably like a dinosaur. It's been around since the dinosaurs. They're not worried. They don't have any threat to them. They're anything that's really, taking them out. So that would make sense. I think if even things that we don't understand, because even like Bigfoot, yes, you think because it's a land creature. But you know what? There was a time, it wasn't even that long ago, that they really found the panda bear. Before, a panda bear was only talked about and heard of, but no one even believed with it, because that's how hard to catch a panda bear is. They're not that common. But I understand the fact that they caught it. Look, but the thing is, you got to remember this: not everything is meant for you to catch. You know, well, check it out. The Native Americans on the cave. The Bigfoots were written. Pictures of them were in the cave, and in these illustrations, there were also UFOs. So my thing is, I don't know why, but it's not random. They weren't just putting them in caves. There's a reason. So whatever it is, why are they so good in being, in hiding and things, Because they're more intelligent than you think, and in some cases, they could be interdimensional. because you're not going to find a dead body or anything, or they dispose of it somehow. It wasn't like, for the most part, but it's when remember the Gimlin Patterson video?
Wait, hold on.
Thanks for watching this segment of the full episode to be posted Sunday afternoon. Much more to be discussed in the next part, so give this video a like, leave your comments for us to reply to in future episodes, and stay notified by hitting the subscribe button.